Russell Wilson, he's going to New York. Just a week, the Giants just signed Jameis Winston. And now they bring up Russell Wilson to a 1 year, $10.5 million contract that can be worth up to $21 million with added incentives. And also, this is from NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. This is what Ian Rappaport reported. Also, up to $3 million is available, 176.5 per game based on wins and playing more than 50% of plays. Before Wilson was signed, many believed that Winston, who threw for 2,121 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, and went 2-5 as the Cleveland Browns started last season, would be the New York Giants starting quarterback and an effective placeholder in 2025 for whichever passer the team drafted next month. So, look, I'll continue with this. Hey, New York Giants. Apparently, you've been watching my pod because I did say y'all haven't had much of a history with black quarterbacks. I did say it. Apparently, they've been paying attention to my podcast.
Signed two of them. Signed two in a week.
You signed two of them. Hey, I wish y'all could have signed them on Black History Month, but hey, better late than never. But y'all got yourself some black quarterbacks. So I'm happy with that regard. There's going to be competition. They got the 3rd overall pick. I also believe Russ didn't mind because he and Sierra, of course, they wouldn't mind in New York. There's no way I can imagine Russ and Sierra in ATL with Future, although Champ would love to see that for sure, because Champ would probably go to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and see that. But look,
the minute Russell Wilson leave a drive and they play mask off over the intercom, that's ball game. I'm walking out. That's done.
But here's the thing. The New York Giants, they got the 3rd overall pick. Now, the Eagles, they're better than the Giants. Don't like to brag. My Commanders are better than the Giants. They have the 3rd overall pick. What are they going to do? Are they going to draft their future quarterback? Because, again, it seems like Cam Ward, he's going to be the number 1 pick to the Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns. Are they going to draft Abdul Carter to pair up with Myles Garrett? Or are they going to draft a quarterback, whether Shedeur Sanders or, hell, Jackson Dart? Because Jackson Dart has been lighting him up, and he also lighted him up in the pro day as expected. So with the New York Giants, you have Jameis and you have Russell Wilson. I believe Russell Wilson is going to be the starter because, like I said, with Jameis Winston, 50-50. But I wouldn't mind seeing Jameis Winston being the starter, which I believe he will. Not wishing injury on Russell Wilson, but the past couple of years, not only that, with New York, there's not many expectations for them to win. The only reason why I wouldn't mind Jameis Winston being there is because, I'm sorry, I still can't get over it, what he did for Jared Jeudy and with Jared Jeudy with Madden rating because of Woody Johnson, the owner. So if Malik Neighbors, if you're looking at him, I had a hell of a season. And I had Daniel Jones. I had Tommy DeVito at quarterback. So imagine if I have Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson at quarterback. Russell Wilson was still able to produce with George Pickens, regardless of all the problems. Mm-hmm. So if I'm Malik Neighbors, I'm still going to have a Pro Bowl caliber season because I'm that gifted of a talent. And it doesn't matter if I have Jameis or Russ at the prime, past their primes, I'm still going to put up my numbers. But should the New York Giants actually draft a quarterback? Should they take a chance on Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart? Because obviously Russ and Jameis are not the long-term solutions. So they have to make a serious decision. Or, and you also mentioned this too, Champ, the coaching. Eventually they're going to move on from the coaching staff and hire a new one. So the Giants, are you going to think about getting yourselves a new quarterback? And if not, either get yourself an offensive lineman or some defensive players. But this is intriguing. I believe Russell Wilson will win because of the experience and his ability to take care of the football compared to Jameis Winston. However, I think Jameis is more exciting to watch than Russell Wilson because Jameis, whether it's them W's, whether it is the speeches that he gives, or Martin Luther King Winston, the Lord will deliver me from the pick sixes. I'm paraphrasing. Jameis is going to put up some numbers. He's going to put up some crazy numbers in a good and in a bad way. But I do think Russ is going to be the starter. What do you think, champ?
Oh man, look, I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room. I don't think they have enough confidence in either one of these young men coming in, whether that be Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. I think that's why they said that we'll take Martin Luther King Winston and Russell Wilson at this point. The mild-mannered Russell Wilson, I would say.
The two of them will go into church. Two of them will be in church.
Yeah.
Champ will be there too.
Yeah, I won't be. Well, I'll stay for fellowship. But if you from down south, you know what fellowship is. That's when that's the first of the month when they got the plates in the back. Yeah, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me. So when fellowship comes, I'm gonna be there for you. So I got you.
I see where your mind said that first Sunday. I see it. I can't say that because I'm like that too. I ain't mad.
Look, let's just be real, man. Look, all of a sudden, hey, you all know that one cousin who never went to church, but first Sunday because he knew fellowship was about to happen.
He dressing up. He doing the communion. He the first one back there in the kitchen in the back to get the food. Boy, he in the middle of everything.
Rest in peace to my brother because he used to do that. But yeah, everybody used to know he used to go to church every first Sunday. Hey man, I'm finna go to church with y'all. Yeah, fellowship today. We know why he come. So hey, but look, when you bring out that Publix chicken, you got to come to church. You got to
boy. Either that or Ingles. We got Ingles down here, so one of the two.
One of the two. That Ingles or that Publix chicken, you got to come out. But I digress. I don't think they have a lot of confidence in Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward at this point. There was a lot of rumors going on that the New York Giants was trying to get Drew Allar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, from Penn State.
Drew Aller.
Drew Aller. Yeah. They was banking on him to change his mind and come out prior to him declaring to go back to Penn State, because the New York Giants were very, very high on Drew at a certain point. So I don't think they have a lot of confidence in Shedeur or Cam Ward. I don't know why they don't at a certain point, because if there's anybody who can handle the scrutiny of the New York media, it is Shedeur Sanders, especially with all the scrutiny that he went through, not only at Jackson State, but at Colorado, especially last year. And he was a Heisman candidate. So I don't know why they don't have confidence in him at this point. Even Mel Kiper said that he can handle the New York media. Even Mel Kiper said that. So I don't think they have a lot of confidence in them until they prove it to me otherwise. That's why I think they brought in these two quarterbacks, that being Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito, and Russell Wilson. That's why I think, because right now your quarterback room is full. You got three quarterbacks at this point. You re-signed Tommy Cutlets, you re-signed Martin Luther King, and you re-signed Russell Wilson. So
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America. Sam Wilson. Yeah, ironically. But Sam Wilson. Yeah, they should have said the same last name. But I don't think they have a lot of confidence in these guys. I think that don't be surprised if either Travis Hunter or if Abdul Carter falls to them, that they take one of those two great players, or, even take a flyer and go for another player. But I don't think they have the confidence in this quarterback class coming up. And they're trying, not to mention, to your point, PSP, I don't think they're going to bring this coaching staff back next year. I don't think they have a lot of confidence in the coaching staff. Now, the biggest loser of this offseason with them two going, with that quarterback room being full, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I don't know who you finna snatch off the couch right about now. Because if you're bringing Aaron Rodgers, you already have an overly emotional offense right now with DK Metcalf and George Pickens being on that offense. Now, if you bring in Aaron Rodgers to be your quarterback, you finna have some heat. In the great words of Bum Phillips from the Houston Oilers from back in the day, if you bring in Aaron Rodgers to this locker room, you about to have more hell on you than a little bit. And if you think Mike Tomlin was on the hot seat before, it's finna be scorching and your butt finna be bubbling after Aaron Rodgers get there. I think if anything has the potential in order to get Coach Tomlin fired, it's beef and animosity and all of the drama that Aaron Rodgers will bring to that locker room. Even Cam Hayward. Yes. Even Cam Hayward, son of the great Craig Hayward, has been saying either you want to play or not. So the biggest loser of this situation, they've lost Justin Fields. Now they've lost Russell Wilson. The biggest losers of this situation has to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So guess what, Pittsburgh? You got to draft a quarterback now. If you don't want to, you got to. So you better start going to church or saying your prayers and hoping that one of these guys fall to you. Because if they don't, and you got to sign Aaron Rodgers, that could be if anything could be the death knell for Mike Tomlin. Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh could be. Because he's going to bring drama to that locker room and that team like no other. Not to mention, like I said, you already have two very over-emotional wide receivers. One, because of passion, and the other one cannot stand when he ain't getting the ball. So you're going to have a very overly emotional offense on your hands if you signed Aaron Rodgers. So Pittsburgh, you're the biggest loser in this offseason outside of DK Metcalf as far as quarterbacks are concerned. You better get it together, start trading up, because right now you bring Aaron Rodgers in that locker room. That is the only thing that I can see potentially that could cost Mike Tomlin his job is bringing Aaron Rodgers in there. You stay away from him like the plague. You social, and how we used to do it back in 2020, you social distance away from him with the quickness. Because if you do, that's going to be bad.
Then what the hell you want them to do, champ? Bring in Trey Lance? Bring in Nathan Peterman?
Well, the thing is, look, you got a chance to take a risk, trade up, and get you one of these good quarterbacks coming out in the draft. The thing is, what are you going to do at this point? You've already lost Najee Harris. You've lost your entire quarterback room at this point. What do you have to lose by drafting up and saying, hey, I'll give you a certain amount of players or even a pick in order to be able to draft, in the top 10 or the top 5? Or, like I said this in a TikTok video I did. Hey, call up Los Angeles, the Chargers, and say, here's what we'll do. We'll give you TJ Watt, a first and a third for Justin Herbert. You got to do something, because time and time again, Aaron Rodgers has proved he's a cancer. You don't have Russell Wilson or Justin Fields at this point. You only have one active quarterback on your roster. And if Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward get taken on the high end, you're pretty much SOL at this point. So you got to do something. Bringing Aaron Rodgers to that locker room will be the biggest mistake in Mike Tomlin's history, because it's going to be drama from day one.
But champ, here's the mistake I feel like you're making, and you've even mentioned this to me. At some point in time, when are we going to stop just looking at Mike Tomlin? Why don't we look at just the Steelers organization, their management, their ownership? They're forgetting the standard that they previously left out, that you've mentioned several times. Playoffs, getting to the playoffs is not good enough. People they've forgotten Super Bowls. At one point, they had the most Super Bowls in NFL history until the New England Patriots matched them. My thing is, champ, should they roll the dice on getting a quarterback? Because yeah. Because do we really want to take a shot with Aaron Rodgers? Now, if it were the Aaron Rodgers in his glory days in Green Bay, okay, you pull that move, regardless of how difficult he is as far as a personality standpoint. I think they should do it, but you're gonna have to give an awful lot in order to get themselves a quarterback. And if you're gonna have to give up a third, maybe 2 first round picks or a third for a guy like a Justin Herbert, but the problem is the Chargers, they're not letting go of Justin Herbert, not after that contract. So if you're not gonna get Justin Herbert, who else? What you gonna pitch Arizona? Hey, we'll give you a first and a third for Kyler Murray.
First and the third, TJ Watt. TJ Watt's coming up on a contract year.
But here's the thing, champ, and I love some Kyler. You talk about how difficult Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and I love him because again he OU, and I've even criticized him as well. He don't study.
To your point, yes, but look how far he's come since that time. Look how far he's come. He was darn near on the verge of a playoff berth last year, and that line was, ugh. You know, he didn't have no line.
Now, granted, he will with that old line in Pittsburgh, he'll be fine. But the thing is, Mike Tomlin, you're working with Kyler. How you gonna work with someone like Kyler? Because again, no matter what, they put a study clause in his contract, and he signed on the dotted line, showing how embarrassing that situation is. Even if Kyler makes a mistake, hey, they'll probably say, well, if you put that on that controller, if you spend more time watching film as opposed to playing Call of Duty or Fortnite or any other thing that you were on. Now, unfortunately for Kyler, when Call of Duty comes out, I think his record is like crazy. But my thing is, champ, I wouldn't mind Kyler in Pittsburgh because, again, Mike Tomlin, you finally have a legit quarterback. Kyler Murray, when he's at his best, is top 10. Kyler is a top 10 quarterback, and he's shown flashes of that. His first couple of years in the NFL, year 3, had it not been for the injury, had it not been for the Cardinals falling off, Kyler Murray at one point was in the discussion for the MVP the first half of the season when the Cardinals were 7-0. So my thing is with Kyler, I think Arizona, they probably still want to keep him, but who knows? If you're Pittsburgh, how much are you going to give up? You're going to give up a TJ Watt. You're going to give up a first and a third for a quarterback because you feel like you're a quarterback away. Because look, it's still going to be the Ravens division. The Bengals, I believe Joe Burrow is the better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. You can argue Lamar over Joe Burrow, but I like Joe Burrow as an overall quarterback. I just think he's just better as a passer, and I think he plays better in the postseason. And then, of course, we all know Cleveland. Lord have mercy. I mean, they can't get their act together. But I would like to, Champ, I understand your point. I would love to see them get a quarterback. But Chargers are still sticking with Herbert. Okay, fine. The Cardinals, we can't rule out the possibility of the Cardinals. What about the Rams? Matthew Stafford's still sticking around.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna let go of Matthew Stafford because of that big, huge contract they just signed. But there's a lot of things that needs to happen in Pittsburgh.
And plus, they already squashed out the Trevor Lawrence rumors. So, and we all know how you feel about Trevor.
I mean, you know what? I will give a little bit of grace to Trevor. I will give a little bit more grace. I have to. Because Jacksonville, these are the same guys that own AEW. So that just tells you everything you need to know right there. This is the same family that runs AEW. So I'm just going to be real. And they've never, ever since Tom Coughlin left that franchise, they have not been the same. So I have to give a lot more grace to than Trevor Lawrence than originally intended, because you're not playing for a franchise that's known for winning. You're not playing against a franchise playing for a franchise that's known for, building. You're not playing for a franchise that's known to make the right coaching moves outside of Jack Del Rio and Tom Coughlin. So it's just like it just seems like it just seems like with Jacksonville, they'll look up on like a good year every now and then. It is just like, seems like, okay, then poof, Thanos. So we got to give Trevor Lawrence a hell of a lot more grace than we give him, because you're playing for a franchise that is not known for doing much. They're a very, very poorly run organization. They're very poorly run. Like I said, part of that family owns AEW. So, I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know.
BRF.
Whoo, man. Definitely well said on Champ's part, man. He made some points. As far as at first, even after the Russell Wilson signing, I hadn't completely ruled out the possibility of them taking a quarterback with the number 3 spot, just from the standpoint of, like, regardless of how good they play this year, they're basically the bridge to whoever you ultimately hand the keys to the franchise to. And I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking they might be done. Like you have Russell Wilson, you have Jameis Winston, you have Tommy DeVito. I mean, your quarterback room is 3. You're 3 deep. You're pretty much taken care of. I think right now, I think those, like, well, first off, shout out to the AFN Discord, which I'm a part of, Atlanta Falcons Network. They were talking about this. A lot of the guys were talking about this, and they were making some points. Like, this could be one of those moves where, like, this could be one of the moves where they're just looking at next year and the potential quarterbacks that could be coming out in 2026. I mean, you got a Nico Iamaleava, Tennessee. I mean, of course, you got Carson Beck, now Miami. You have and I feel like it's the biggest name if he comes out of Texas, one Mr. Arch Manning. So, I mean, they could be looking at that draft class next year, and they could be trying to say, you know what, we'll go all out for one of those guys next year. I still, to an extent, don't think this rules out them drafting one of the quarterbacks, but I think at this point, you already got 3, and it would be no reason to draft a quarterback now. And basically, you have Russ as your starter, Jameis Winston ultimately is your backup, and then Tommy DeVito is your third string. So, I honestly, looking at it now, I think it'd be kind of pointless to draft a rookie. Basically, have him come in. I feel like if a rookie was to come in, regardless of who they draft, they would instantly become the 3. Because ultimately, if both of those quarterbacks struggle, the fans are going to want to see that rookie play. But at the same time, I think with Russ and Jameis, it would have to be the right situation, the right scenario, and the right reasoning for them to still take a QB at 3. And I feel like the Titans and Browns at 1 and 2. I personally think the Titans, don't be shocked if they make Abdul Carter the number 1 overall pick. Don't. I know none of us are fans of Will Levis. None of us are fans of him. But just don't be shocked if they give him 1 more year, but they take someone like an Abdul Carter to put on that defense.
For what? Being on the cover of Mayonnaise?
I mean, that's the front office. I mean, we can't think for them. So we kind of have to look at it from the standpoint of, like,
hell,
you kind of got to look at it
like make my coffee. And we saw how he put put mayonnaise in his coffee, for those who may not know.
Hey, we all definitely saw that. But at the same time, I mean, it's like what Champ said. I mean, you kind of looking at a situation like there's so many avenues that Tennessee can go with that pick. I mean, they could draft Cam Ward. They can draft Abdul Carter. They could use it as bait for another team to be like, hey, give us some good draft capital. We'll give you the number 1 overall pick, which I definitely think is in the realm of possibility. I definitely think they could be baiting the team, because I feel like if you're coming out now, like and the Browns too, I think the Browns might be baiting a little bit too, because reports are saying the Browns are seriously thinking about Champ's idea. Like you said, PSP, they watched the show. Cleveland's thinking about Champ's idea of taking Abdul Carter and pairing him with Myles Garrett. Cleveland's starting to highly think about that now. So there are so many avenues that can go with these top 2 picks. That's why you can't rule out anything if you're Tennessee in this situation. Because let me tell you something. Like I said, would I be shocked if Tennessee just drafted Abdul Carter and said they're going to run it back with Will Levis one more year? I would not be shocked at all. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't do it. I would draft the quarterback. Will Levis is not your answer, but we are not the front office. We are not getting paid to make these types of decisions. We don't know what they could be reading. We don't know what they're scouting. We don't know what they could be analyzing. We don't know. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they could say, you know what? Let's take Abdul Carter. Let's run it back with Will Levis for one more year. If he sucks and we're back in the top 5, those 3 names I gave you are probably likely the top 3 names on the board going into 2026 at the quarterback position. When you look at Carson Beck, you look at Nico Lavea, and you look at Arch Manning. You look at those 3. Those are potentially your top 3 guys coming out for 2026. They could just flat out tank it out and go for one of those guys next year. Same with the New York Giants having these quarterbacks. It's so wild, and it's just so unpredictable, these routes that they can go. I think I'm looking at now I'm going back to the Giants. I'm looking at the Giants, and I'm just thinking, I don't. If I was them, I would not draft a quarterback at this point, just because I wouldn't do it with Russ and Jameis. I'd probably play it out, wait till next year, and get one of those guys. So you're looking at a Travis Hunter. You're looking at, I'm trying to think who else is there. Who else is there for the taking? I mean, a lot. I mean, it's a defensive draft, so I mean, there's a lot of really good defensive players out there. Like, I mean, hey, I mean, you got Shamur Stewart out of Texas A&M. He could be there for the taking if you want to improve your defensive line. I mean, there are so many avenues that you can go. The Giants could say, you know what? We're going to hold off on quarterback until 2026. I think ultimately the guy for them, if they don't go quarterback, that makes the most sense for them, like a non-quarterback. Honestly, it's probably somebody like a Travis Hunter if you want him to play defense. I think a Travis Hunter could I think a Travis Hunter could make sense going to the New York Giants defense, a defense who desperately needs secondary help. I mean, we talk about the New York Giants all they want to. Their front 7 is one of the most lethal parts of that team. Their front 7 is lethal. Secondary, not so much. But if you draft Travis Hunter and you want him to be a primary cornerback, he instantly adds. He instantly adds to that and makes your defense better on the back end. If your front 7 is getting good pressure, you got a guy in Travis Hunter that can go out and possibly, cover your best dude, take away half of the field, potentially growing to that ceiling, and you got that fixed up. So there are just many options that the Giants can go. I am like I said, I'm just at first I was thinking I don't think it completely rules out, but now you look at it more and more, it's like I don't think now you really need to draft one. Just play it out for 2026, and you just look at all these skill position players, and you go BPA, get the best one available, and go into 2026 with Russ more than likely as your starting quarterback. So that's how I'm looking at it from that side of things. But this is the NFL draft coming up. It's going to be fun, and I'm excited to see what dominoes are going to fall. I'll make a prediction. I think one of those top 2 picks are going to get traded.
Can't be surprised at that. Shout out to my good friend Alan Perales. Outside the early years when they were giant killers, taking down greats like John Elway, Jacksonville hasn't been great at all. To validate Champ's point, it's like the Giants already know Shador is going to Cleveland and went stopgap to fill the need. Hmm. But for the Tennessee Titans, I do think they have to draft a quarterback. I think it's close. If it's that close, then you're gonna have to draft Cam Ward, even though we're not the ones making the decision, BRF. But at the end of the day, you make the wrong decision, then guess what? You're gonna be at home like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, the Giants, they could use Travis Hunter because they definitely need help at the DB spot. I would still love to see Travis Hunter play wide receiver. He wouldn't be number one, but he would be a number two to Malik Neighbors, just to get make the offense more formidable. But yeah, Giants desperately need help with their back seven. They have Dexter Lawrence, they have Brian Burns, they have Kayvon Thibodeau. Their front seven is good. They just need some help with the DBs. Maybe a Travis Hunter, maybe another cornerback in the draft could definitely help them out, especially when you're going up against the wide receivers in that division. Scary Terry for Washington, CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys, and of course AJ Brown, Devontae Smith in Philadelphia. But I think
I'm
Tennessee,
telling you,
yeah.
I was just going to like a Travis Hunter, a Will Johnson, a name not a lot of people talk about, but they need to put respect on his name out of Texas. Jade Barron is going to be a great pickup for somebody who needs a corner. So there's available dudes out there.
Well, I hope Washington gets them because definitely need some help at cornerback spot. But Tennessee, I think they have to drop Cam Ward because to Champ's point, and he's brought it up. He thought Will Levis, just like with Anthony Richardson coming out of college, he wasn't impressed. He wasn't buying into all the hype. The only thing we know about with Will Levis is all them damn mayonnaise commercials. I don't trust him not to only throw the football. I damn sure don't trust him to make my coffee. Man put mayonnaise in his coffee. So why should I trust him? Sorry.
Hey, I don't trust. I don't trust him either. But like we all said, we're not making no decision. But you did bring up the fact that y'all need a corner up there in Washington. I'm telling you right now. I think the one likely to fall because of his injury history is Will Johnson. And I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all land Will Johnson, praise him in all his glory. Because Will Johnson is like that. I'm telling you.
I hope Washington, you better be listening.